What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. So we're working on a little yellow 79 coupe today. If you guys remember, the deck lid had a luggage rack on it, like an aftermarket installed luggage rack from probably the 80s. They had went ahead and drilled screws into the deck lid though. So when I removed it, obviously I had some screws to fill. If you guys know anything about 79s, they actually have a flat trunk on the coupes, and they're pretty hard to come by, pretty rare trunk lids. So I figured I wanted to save this one and keep it on the car. So I went ahead, we broke the welder out today and welded up some holes, and I'll show you guys how that looks now. And we're going to go ahead and flip it around and fix a lot of the surface rust and areas like that on the back, and I'll show you guys that too. Alright, so like I said, there was 2 holes here, 2 holes here, 2 holes there, 2 holes there. Went ahead and welded them up. It's all bare metal now. It's a little, I won't say warped or anything, but just where the dents, or where the holes were, the metal kind of pulled up from the screws. So I tapped them back down and then welded the holes up, but there's still going to be some body work required on that. If I could get to the back, I would hammer and dolly it as good as I can, but unfortunately you've got all of this structure back here, and none of it really landed in the flat areas, unfortunately. So I can't really do much hammer and dollying with it. But where we've got it now is we're going to go ahead, we went ahead and grinded all of our welds down, then hit it with 80 grit, kind of 80 grit around this, and that'll be a good surface for us to put our body filler onto. And then we'll just block it out. And I'm kind of debating, there's one little dent right there. I'll probably end up fixing that too, as I'm really undecided how I want to paint the trunk, if I just want to paint the entire trunk or if I want to cut it at this line and blend the areas. Being that it's so close to the edge, I'm probably just going to have to end up painting the whole trunk. I really wanted to try to keep the original pinstriping, that way it would match down the sides, but since we're replacing the front bumper anyway, we're going to have to do something with the pinstripes there, so we'll figure it out. Most likely I will probably end up repainting the entire trunk, but you guys can kind of see the deck lid is completely flat on the back here, so pretty cool. But I'll flip this over and show you guys that. Alright, so here's the underside of the trunk. Like I said, we do have some surface rust on this edge of this trunk lid, but it's really not all that bad. It does look kind of bad. I'm sure a lot of you guys are like, oh my god, I would just replace that. Yeah, if it was a regular trunk, I'd probably try to find a different one. Being that it's a 79 flat trunk, I'm going to try and fix it. And kind of see where we welded in our holes a little bit. So what I'm going to do with this, you can see too that there's really not any seam sealer on these edges and seams, so we'll probably try to put a little bit in there. But anyway, so what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to hit this with a wire wheel on a drill and get most all of this flaky stuff off, and then I'll come in, I need to take that out. Then I'll come in and probably hit it with an 80 grit or either a roll-lock pad on my little die grinder, just to kind of clean up the metal and get it as close to bare metal as possible. Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to get all of this out, but we just want to get enough of this off. That way, whenever we put our primer down, since I have some good etching primer that will kind of neutralize all of this rust, that way it'll look smooth once we get some paint on this thing, and it'll look a lot better. So let's go ahead and knock that out now. Alright, so we're back after about, I don't know, 45 minutes of cleaning all this up. That looks pretty good. All this came out fairly clean. There's obviously some pits and stuff in the metal there. Now you could use like they sell like a rust former. I think Por 15 sells some sort of like a rust converter rust neutralizer, just to keep it from growing anymore. But like I said, the etching primer that I have actually does a really good job of kind of neutralizing all of this stuff. So that's what I'll be using. But you can say most of it's, you know, clean metal now. Like I said, there is the spots where you have the pits and all that, but we're going to go ahead and put some good etching primer on this, and then we'll fill most of these pits will all fill in with our 2K high build primer that we're going to throw on here. And yeah, it should look pretty good once we're done with it. So I tried to, you know, really get up in here in this where this seam is. There's really only a couple little pinholes that look like they're all the way through. This one's got a little bit here, and some of that could have been from me grinding on it. And then there's like one right there. But overall, this should look really good. Once you prime this, then you could put your seam sealer on this and paint over it, and nobody would ever know that this would have, that it would have looked the way that it did. So this is just a good way to go ahead and do all of this stuff. I know a lot of you guys out there probably have hatches that probably look the same, and the bottoms of your doors that probably look the same. You know, I think that this is a good way to go about fixing that. So I figured I'd show you guys that. Where we're going to go from now, though, is we're going to flip it back over, do our body work on all of the spots that we welded up, and we'll get everything ready to prime. And I'll pick the camera up once I'm done with body work. All right, so here's what I got for the back. Went ahead, sanded all this down. Now, I'm not going to mask up all of this stuff, just because when I shoot this, primer doesn't have a lot of overspray, and I'm going to use really low pressure on all of this stuff, so I really shouldn't get a whole lot of overspray on any of this. I did kind of tape up the latch a little bit and the bump stops, and I went ahead and just left this in place, because once I get this primered, I'm going to put it back on the car, let it sit out in the sun, and let that primer shrink up good. But we did get the top side body worked. I'll go ahead and show you guys what that looks like now. Alright, so here's what the top side looks like. Went ahead and got all of our low spots fixed, body worked. So no more holes. So now we're just basically going to fog in. I've got a couple bare metal areas here. I'm going to put some etching primer on that right now. Once that cures up for, I don't know, 10 minutes, it dries really fast. We'll go ahead and just fog in some good 2K filler primer on all of our bodywork areas. We're not going to go crazy with masking everything off, because I mean, literally guys, I'm just going to low pressure. I probably will run a piece of masking tape right here just to make sure nothing falls on it. But the way I got this masked up is the tape is rolled on the edge so it won't create a hard line, and I back taped this little kind of area there on both sides. So kind of a cheater way to do it, but it works. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done now. All right, y'all, went ahead, got the trunk put back on after priming it. Figured I'd show you guys. Kind of see off the glare. Obviously I need to block the primer. I put about 4 coats of primer on this, and you can kind of see what we're gonna do here. You see how we didn't quite get to this edge of this line here. I'm gonna end up sanding a lot of this back probably. It'll be kind of hard, so that'll be a tedious thing, but I didn't really have much of a choice. Like I said, I really would like to keep the original pinstripe line and all of this kind of patina around the lock, so I figured that would be the best way to do it. Go ahead and show you guys what the backside turned out like. Obviously I got to take this back off to paint it, but oh, there you go. Not bad, right? Obviously there's still going to be some pitting and whatnot in it. Once you get it painted, it's going to look a whole lot better than freaking nasty, rusty seams and everything. So, and you guys can do this at home, honestly, just with simple tools. You don't have to go crazy with it. You can do that with rattle can primer, self-etching primer. They sell some high build in a can as well. I went ahead and shot this with my gun, just a little bit easier to manage, and I know that this primer will react pretty good. And I'll leave this outside in the elements for at least a week or two before I sand on it, and go ahead and block it out, and maybe we'll try to get some paint on it here soon. But for right now, it's a whole lot better than having holes and a bunged up trunk, so at least now it's usable.
A few moments later.
All right, y'all, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate y'all tuning in today, clicking on the video, and I just want to say hope y'all having a good day. And yeah, so today we're working on the 79 a little bit. This is kind of a I'm sorry I didn't film segment. Sorry I didn't you know, update you guys. I know some of you guys have probably been waiting on an update on this thing, but I just got in the mood of not really filming anything. And I don't know, I came out after work a couple days this week and just started pulling some stuff out of the engine bay, and one thing led to another, and today went ahead and got the motor taken out of it and cleaned up the engine bay. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn this camera around and show you guys what it looks like. All right, well, bam, there's a big empty hole there now. Yeah, so we're gonna have to fill that with something. And but I went ahead and cleaned everything. I mean, look at the original paint on this hood, y'all. I mean, it is, yeah, I could do a little bit more cleaning on it, but I mean, for 1979, and this thing not really, you know, I mean, it wasn't abused, but it wasn't like detailed every weekend either, you know. And I mean, man, it just really kind of surprised me. Now, this is why a lot of these cars rust out. I mean, they have no paint on the frame rails. There's nothing. You know, a lot of them rust from the inside out, but also a lot of them rust from the top side in. So especially over here in the brake booster area, I mean, you get any brake fluid and stuff on that, I mean, it eats away at all that. So it's a really good thing we're catching it when we do. We'll be able to wire wheel all of that. That's all just surface rust stuff, so it'll all come off really, really easily. This is actually in really good shape. This is all good solid metal down here still. A lot of these are really rotted out, so I'm really happy to see that. And yeah, the paint that's actually left in the engine bay is in really, really nice shape. I mean, everything's clean. Spent a lot of time degreasing and scrubbing and you know, just getting it to a good clean state. That way, because we're going to paint it, I mean, we have to, but you can see how nice this core support is, this lower radiator support. And you'll see this too. I mean, this is bare metal, no paint. It's bare metal, so it's kind of crazy. But yeah, nice and straight. Got one little boo-boo I got to fix right here. It looks like somebody tried to pull it with a tow strap and ripped the insert out. So we're either going to cut this from here over and just replace this lower section, and shouldn't ever be able to tell, or I might be able to hammer and dolly this area back in and weld the insert back in, because it's actually just tucked down in there. So we'll see what I decide on that. I mean, they're supposed to look something like that. So, but I mean, yeah, like all of these, the plates for the shocks, they're all bare metal. I mean, that one's got some rust on it, but that one's actually in really good shape. Yeah, 79's got a lot of odd stuff. I mean, look at that brake line going inside of the car. Yes, 79 did that. I don't know, just a lot of one-off kind of neat stuff. I mean, like the fender bolts, they're not 8 mils like the later model Foxes. But yeah, like I said, spent a couple days after work just kind of pulling stuff out, and honestly, I could have done this, you know, in a day. It really wouldn't have taken much time. Everything pulled out really nice and easy. Nothing really fought me. So yeah, motor's out of the car. Sorry I didn't film it. Is what it is. We're gonna go ahead and I guess I can show you guys the engine that's gonna go in here. Obviously, I'm gonna do some stuff to it, but I'll show you guys what that looks like right now. All right, so here's the engine choice. Like I said, it's just gonna be a stock, mostly stock. I believe it's a 302. The guy that I got it from really didn't know. He, you know, kind of one of those story motors. He got it from somebody else. They got it from somebody else, and but it does have GT40s don't have the valve covers off, but it does have some decent Proform rockers on it. It's got head studs, and it's got a Cometic gasket, but we're going to pull the heads off, see what the bore is on it, and you know, just check everything out, make sure the cylinders look good, and we'll be taking these valve covers off. Probably be putting something similar to that on it. Tall Ford Racing valve covers. These are going on something else, so we'll be taking these off. I do have a different intake manifold for it that I'll probably end up running. This is just a cheap Chinese 4-barrel intake. It was on the motor when I got it, so no complaints there. But yeah, I mean, honestly, you know, it's a pretty solid little deal there. And I guess I can show you the trans too. So which one am I going to use? I don't know. One of these two. One of these is for another project, but one of them had gone through and rebuilt. Pretty sure this is actually the one that I'll be using. Went ahead and had it rebuilt. I did the cluster support in it, billet shift keys, a lot of the, you know, known kind of T5 issues. It went ahead and did a new, I need to clean this up, it's been sitting a little while, but input shaft, bearing retainer, new input shaft. Lots of little parts went into this one. Had it done a while ago. I was going to put it in something else, but decided why not just put it in this, since that's what we're working on right now. So yeah, like I said, sorry I didn't film much of this process for you guys, but that's kind of where we're at and what I've been working on. And like I said, we got the trunk done, got that fixed, the motor's out of it. Next thing we're gonna go and do now is probably end up painting the engine bay. Start pulling. I'll probably pull the dash out of the car, pull all the wiring harnesses out of the car, get the booster, master, get everything out of the engine bay. We'll go ahead and sand everything down, prime what needs to get primed, and then yeah, probably throw a fresh coat of paint on it and let it ride. But yeah, so stay tuned. Sorry it's been a little while since I've made an update video for you guys, but I am out here working slowly when I feel like it. So appreciate you guys all for watching. Hope you have a good one. See you in the next one.